Hello and welcome to Markplex and to this new version of tutorial 109, which I've called 109 real time, and the original version is still there and the original version still works, but what I wanted to do is modify the program so that it would plot the bars as they developed. In fact, the previous version actually only drew the bars on the last tick of the bar. This version plots the bars as they're being developed. It also includes a couple of other features. Historic bars are shown as one color. Real-time bars are shown as another color. The first bar, when the program's applied, is given another color, and these are hard-coded in the program, but you could change that. It also includes an alert when a bar, and I've set a bar here because we've got the indicator appearing as a histogram, but we've got these cyan colored bars which occur when the bar is over a certain size, in fact a user input size. There's also an alert attached to that. Okay, so let's look at the program, and I'll talk you through some of the changes I made. And the main thing really was, in the previous version, what I'd done, I put a lot of the functionality in a if then begin end statement, which was based on the last tick of the bar. What I've done here is removed most of that, so a lot of the syntax is being executed on a tick by tick basis for real-time bars. Okay, so let's have a look at, we'll just ignore this little section for the moment, but look down here for the bar status. So now when the bar status is equal to 2, in other words it's the last tick of the bar, then the program says if it is a real-time bar, get appinfo AI real-time calc is equal to 1. Then we set this little boolean intrabar persist variable to be equal to true. And if, however, it's a historic bar, then we in fact the bar open is null, then we calculate tspan based on the, as it were, the end date time for the bar and the end date time of the previous bar. And as I say on the program web page, of course, this is not strictly accurate, because the first tick of the new bar is not necessarily the same time as the last tick of the old bar. But having done that, we've set new bar to be true. So when this program goes round and executes again, we're now at the first tick of a new bar, and so we check if it's a new bar. In other words, the last tick was the last bar, and it's a real-time bar. I'm not sure we totally need that, because if new bar is true, then in actual fact that's probably that will be a given. But what we then do is we change the new bar to be false, and we set bar open to be equal to bar date time. So we've now stored a real-time bar open time, which we'll be using later. So I said, if we just go to the bar status thing again, that if it's a historic bar, all bar open is null. Then we just take the tspan, we approximate the tspan using the bar date time of the end of this bar minus the bar date time of the end of the previous bar. Okay, now what we do every single tick is we check if it's not a null bar. In other words, we just see where the bar open is set. If bar open, which is set to the bar date time, the first, as it were, real-time bar that we get to, and we get the first tick of that bar, then if that is not null, then we calculate the tspan, which is the length of the bar up to this point on a real-time bar. It's bar date time minus bar open. However, if this thing is either or the bar open is equal to null, in other words, we haven't recorded the bar date time at the first tick of a real-time bar yet, then we approximate and say tspan is equal to bar date time minus bar date time 1 ago. Now you may be thinking, well, hang on, we've just calculated that here for historic bars. Why are we calculating that again on a tick by tick? And the reason for that is that there is one bar where we haven't recorded the first the bar date time at the first tick of that bar, but it is a real-time bar, and that is the bar when we first apply the program or when we change the status to be on. So what this does is, if we just go back to the chart, and what I'll do, I'll just refresh it so that we get a new, as it were, first bar. This bar is the one that's going to be colored magenta. And what you'll see is this bar is changing, and we're calculating that based on the real bar date time right now minus the bar date time at the last tick of the previous bar. Now, after this one is complete, we will store the bar date time of a real-time bar, and from then on, we'll be calculating the time span of the bar based on the current bar date time minus the bar date time of that first tick. Okay, that sounds rather complicated. I think if you were to study the code a little bit, it'll probably start to make sense. Now, the other thing we do is change some colors, and what I've done here is said if it's a null bar but it's a real-time bar, then we set the plot color to magenta. That is that first bar that we've just been discussing. We also plot seconds, and we do that by using the property of the t-span, t-span being incidentally a time span. And if you are not familiar with that, you can right click and click definition of time span. But a time span would be a datetime object subtracted from another datetime object. It's very useful as far as adding time and subtracting time and so on. Also, we do need a namespace up here just while we're there. Okay, so we've set the color for the first for the real-time bar. We're plotting the indicator, which we're doing as a histogram, and then we've got a few other colors that we want to do. What I'm saying here is if bar open is not equal to null, in other words, we captured the bar date time at the first tick of a bar, it's a real-time bar, we captured the first tick, then we color that green. So that would be the real-time bars that you can see developing now to the right. And then the other thing we need to do is if the t-span total seconds is greater than alert duration is a user input, which is an integer. I've set as, well, the program has it set as 900. Then we do two things. First of all, we set the plot color to cyan, but we only do that if the plot color is not magenta. I've just set it so that it doesn't change it if it's that first bar. The other thing we do, we have an alert. Now what you will need to make sure is when you go to Format, Analysis Techniques, and the program, which is this one here, and you click Format, you need to go to Alerts and then set the appropriate alert conditions as you wish. Okay, so that is a very quick rundown of the program. I think there's a few useful programming lessons here, including some of the date time objects, time span, and just some basic programming techniques. What I have done, however, is I've created another program which has a few extra features. Notably, in real time, it times to the second rather than the minute, and the colors can be input as user input. So the version that I've just demonstrated, that is available for free to Gold Pass members. The version I've just demonstrated and the additional version are available for download for a nominal fee, and I'll be doing another video to demonstrate the other program. Anyway, I hope you find this useful. Oh, one thing that I omitted to say is that in the original program, we had the situation where using the bar date time at the last tick of the bar is fine for continuous symbols, but it's not so good when we get a situation where there is a gap overnight, for example, because then the calculation tells us that the bar was a huge length of time. And what I did in the original program was I said if it is a new day, then instead of basing the time of the historic bar based on the last bar, what we did was base it on the date time of the session start time, which was really only an approximation. Now in the new program I haven't included that functionality. If you wish to put it back, you could do so, or you could just set the scaling of the indicator so you don't get that huge bar appearing at the start of the day, or you could modify the program in some other way. But that's a little problem with the original program, at least for historic bars, and I solved it in this way, or I partially solved it in this way with the original program. That functionality I have removed because I felt that it was really misleading from the version that I've just included now. Okay, thank you.